Hello everybody, it's Jen May from May Dynamics, as usual on a Tuesday morning. Except not as usual today because of course we are still in effective lockdown. We still have 3 children at home with us being sort of homeschooled, sort of holidays. Nobody quite knows these days. So I'm going to do my best to talk. I'm on a different device because we've had issues with the phone. So I'm on Gary's iPad today. And we'll see how we go. There's also lots of children here making lots of noise. So I'll be very surprised if they don't pop into the room in the next 5 or so minutes and be very disruptive. So lovely to have you here if you're already watching. It's really good to talk to you every Tuesday. And today what I wanted to talk to you about was leadership and the importance of leadership in this crazy new world that we're in. So the thing at the moment is there's very little we can control. For a lot of businesses, they've been closed down. There is no revenue. There is a very uncertain future. They're not quite sure what the current projections are, what the stimulus packages even is to get them through the current moments. And pretty much the only thing that is in people's control is their leadership, the strength of that leadership and the actions and decisions that they're prepared to take now to position themselves for future success. Now that future success might be tomorrow, it might be in 2 months' time, or it might be looking at 2021, 22, etc. So that's Gary going in and out. He's cleaning the Krav Maga shields, which are currently at home, of course, because we're teaching online. So many of you will have heard of the concept of VUCA, and it's an acronym from the military in the 1990s. It's one of my favourite ways to describe the modern world, and I've never known it apply more than in 2020. So VUCA stands for Volatile, Uncertain, Complex and Ambiguous. I think you would all have to agree that we are firmly in a VUCA world right now. I'm just going to really quickly look at what that means and how it applies at the moment. So volatile is that sense of unpredictable, sudden and extreme change, particularly negative change. So if we look at the situation we're in now, looking back to the 31st of December 2019, was the day that China actually warned the World Health Organization that there was a cluster of pneumonia cases they couldn't explain. Since then, 3 months later, by the 31st of March 2020, we have something like 20% of the world in lockdown. That is unprecedented in the speed of that change. Very few people could have predicted it. We all know that we've had a pandemic on our business continuity plans for years, but it's very much taken as that we have to put it there. No, it's never going to happen. Secondly, uncertainty. This is all about the quality of the information. So information being unknown, being unreliable or doubtful, and certainly not being sufficient that we can actually understand the present or plan the future properly based on that information available to us. Thirdly, complex. I've got 2 children now in the room. They've come in, snuck in, trying to silently take things from the table. So it's very distracting. I do apologise. This is all about the idea of all these interconnected parts. So everything is multiple decision making. You've seen the politicians at the moment juggling that fine line between keeping the population healthy, avoiding unnecessary deaths, but not killing off their economies. That's the key thing that's coming out here. And for businesses at the moment, there's very much this question between adapt, pivot, hibernate, survive. These very complicated interactions and very weak signals that suggest that one way is better than another way as well. And then lastly, ambiguous. This is where there's more than one interpretation of the facts. The key thing here is you will have seen all the conspiracy theories going around about the causes, likely transmission, all sorts of things. But interestingly enough, I called an organisation a couple of weeks ago to ask them about the stimulus package. And this is a government mandated organisation and they didn't know. So we are living in a world where everybody is having to interpret data and they're coming up with different interpretations, which makes it very interesting as well. So what do leaders need to do? Well, this is the really interesting thing. So we talk about cognitive readiness. And to me, that's the important thing. A leader, a true leader is actually already prepared and ready for this situation. So it is somebody who's already been acting and demonstrating the values that a good leader will need. And what I think organisations will be finding over the next 6 months is that those organisations that rely on strong leadership thrive. They will adapt, they'll pivot, they'll change, they'll attract, they'll retain loyalty, and they will be the place to go in the future. The organisations that have been getting by with weak leadership, with managers, with bullies, with those who are unprepared to delegate or to trust, those are the ones that are going to really struggle. And interestingly enough, I read an interesting article about the fact that leadership can have up to 30% of the impact on your financial success. Now, I'd actually say that that's more. Based on experience, I think the leadership can probably have about 75% of the impact, simply because a bad leader can make it absolutely impossible to act. So this is the time that organisations need to be actively working on their leadership. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time to learn some of these skills. So what we're talking about, cognitive readiness, includes things like the mental, the emotional, and the interpersonal preparedness for events like this. So that's things like intuition, the ability to adapt, situational awareness. These things can be enhanced by reading and by practice, but they don't come naturally. They're not an overnight thing. Critical thinking is another part of it. Now, this is the ability to understand the assumptions that are being made, to model, to plan, to assess. Again, it's not going to come overnight. And thirdly, the importance of emotional and social intelligence, or ESI. Things including understanding yourself. So you understand your own feelings and the impact that those feelings will have on a situation and other people. The ability to self-manage. And this is really important. We're in such stressful times that it's absolutely vital that we're able to control our impulses and control our negativity and act in a really positive way. Thirdly, to understand our social awareness. So that's empathy, and it's also the ability not just to understand somebody's situation, how they'll be feeling, but also as a result of that to understand how that person will impact the outcome. And that's critical at the moment. This is things like, how will somebody who's been laid off or threatened with a salary cut react to those things? Are they going to cause problems that you may not have foreseen? How is somebody dealing with the stress of not being able to travel, losing loved ones, worry about the future? How much are they going to be able to put into their role, their job, their business, when they most need to, because they are so torn into other places? And lastly, relationship management. And this is absolutely key for those of us with teams. It's the ability of the true leader to not manage, but to heal, to develop, to mentor, and to restrain people in their team and the people around them. And it's absolutely key as well. So my point is, you can't just create a leader overnight. They're born. I think it's vital that we all look back at ourselves and what our history will suggest about our skills as leaders, and also look at other people, those people who are coming up, putting up their hands now and saying, work with me, if those people have got a history of doing the same thing as well. So I'm just going to finish on an action. It's another acronym, LEAP, and it's things that you need to embrace that, yes, we haven't got time to adopt the critical thinking, the cognitive readiness, and the emotional social intelligence that we might like to. But what we can is wake up every day and remember the acronym LEAP. So first of all, being liberal. Talk to people, talk to your team in particular, talk to any co-owners that you might have, to mentors, to advisors, to peers, and be open. Open to new behaviours, to new opinions, and even to new values. And that's critical. They say we're like the 5 people we surround ourselves with most. This is the time to make sure those 5 people are the strength in your life, the backbone that you need. Exuberance. I love this word. So this is all about that energy, that passion, that ability to be optimistic and to engage others through that passion and energy. That's something which you can do, you can model, even if you don't feel like you want to be doing it. Agility. Agility is the ability to change, to actually evolve and learn and change the way we think, but most importantly, act is absolutely vital. There's no point in wanting to do the right thing if we're not doing something about it. And then lastly, partnerships. Genuine trust-based partnerships. As I've said before, start by trusting your team. If you've never trusted them in the past, or you've been unwilling to delegate, now's the time. You will discover that those people around you have the most amazing strengths. One of the people watching this video at the moment has actually recently written an incredible ebook for the company that she works for. Her manager, the owner of that business, is incredibly lucky to have that resource working for him. And it's just one of many examples of a staff member having skills and resources available to them that can be harnessed for the good of that whole business, not just the individual. So that's it, my little rant on leadership. As I said, leaders can be made, they can be created over time, but they can't be created overnight. So do whatever you can to uphold the values that you want to be as a leader. Question yourself. If you've got any questions, this is actually a really good one to talk to Gary and myself about, because we've both been people leaders and very heavily involved in cultural initiatives to grow other people leaders in the past. And I strongly feel in a world where what everybody wants is profitability, the most strong lever we've got over that is the way we lead our teams and the leaders that we seek to have around us. So I wish you all a successful, safe and healthy week, and I will speak to you next Tuesday. Thank you.